Hey everybody, so I'm back again, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a very basic console chat room between the different clients. So now it's very, very easy to actually do using NitroNet, and you're going to understand and learn how to actually do it. You'll see that the effort to do it is very, very minimal. The amount of code that you need to make this chat room is very simple and very easy. So I'm going to just start from where we had begun in the second video when we started actually coding, and I'm just going to kind of edit some things here. So the first thing I'm going to do is in the server listener, I'm going to remove the check to see if it's a my object instance, and in the client listener, in the client starter, I'm going to remove the send TCP portion. Now from here, we're just going to start populating the server listener. Now the first thing, I'm going to kind of go over what we need to be able to let this work. So the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to have some type of way to get the different connections that are connected to the server. So the way to do that is whenever a new client has connected, we want to be able to save that client to an array list or a hash table and be able to add it and get it and send information from it whenever we need to. So the first thing we're going to do is in the server package, we're going to create a new class called connection manager. And these different principles are going to give you the layout of how to manage connections in the future in your own applications. So see this as a stepping stone to creating more larger dynamic projects. So now in here, we're actually going to make this a static class. So I'm going to be using the singleton instance. So I don't know if you know much about how singleton works, but pretty much it only allows a class to be created an instance of a class to be created one time. So we're going to create a new instance of the connection manager. So I'm going to do private static connection manager. I'm going to do instance equals new connection manager. Now, if you think about it, this allows the instance to be created only once. And what we're going to do is we're going to make the constructor of it private. So we're going to do private connection manager and just that. So now no outside class can actually create an instance of connection manager. Only the inside can. So this is what I mean by singleton. There's only one instance of the actual class itself. And it's a very popular model that you'll see in different applications if you haven't worked with it. So now we're going to create a new method called public static connection manager get instance. And we're just going to return the instance. So that's how any class outside of the connection manager will get the instance of the class and be able to use it. So now we can start populating the connection manager class. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create an array list of which will hold the connections that have been connected. So we're going to create an array list of type connection with the connections, and we're just going to create that there. And I'll go over what we're going to be doing with this. So what do we want to do with this? I'm sorry, we also have to import the connection class. So it's going to be from this package here. So now what are we doing in this connection? So what we want to do is whenever a new connection connects to the server, we want to add it to the connections array list. So this way we can get all the connections that are connected to the actual server. And then whenever a client disconnects, we want to remove them from the connections again. So let's go ahead and just create a basic method that allows us to add a connection to the connections array list. So we're going to do public void add connection. And we're going to do with a parameter of connection con, and we're just going to do connections.add con, and that will be that. So now we also want to make a method that allows us to remove a connection when it disconnects. We're going to do remove connection and connection con. And I think I'm actually going to put this source code onto GitHub as well as an example for you guys to use and just download and be able to see the different Java files without having to type it in yourself. So instead of just typing everything in, you can go and just get it right from GitHub. So from here, we're going to do connections.remove and then con. And now we're going to create one more method, which is going to be public. I'm actually going to create two more. We're going to do public void array list connection, and we're going to do get connections. So this is going to return the entire array list of connections. So this will give us all the connected connections, all the connected clients. So that's actually all that we need for this class. It's very basic, just allows getters and setters to hold connection objects. So now let's go back to the server listener. And when a new client connects, we're going to want to do connection manager .get instance .add connection con. So like I said, whenever a new connection connects, we want to add it to the connections object. And then when it disconnects, we're going to want to remove it. So remove connection con. So that's simple, very easy to do. And now we're going to start we're going to start actually making the chat objects that we want to send and receive over to the clients and servers. So we're going to delete the my object packet that we created earlier. I'll go to some errors, we'll fix those in a second. Go to the packets and create a new packet, a new class, sorry, and we're just going to do chat message. And here we're just going to create a, oh, I'm sorry, we actually have to make it serializable first. Import that. And we're going to create a public string message. And public, we're actually also going to create a username. So let's just do public chat message string message or string username string message. And we're just going to set those to the respective instance variables. So it's just a basic model object for the packet to be sent over. And now let's go to the client starter and get rid of these errors here. So they're actually just importing errors, which isn't a big deal. I'm going to remove that. And I'm actually going to remove this if client connected portion. I'm just going to remove this completely. Now in the client listener, when the client connects, we're going to do system.out.println connected to chat. And we're going to send in a new, actually we don't have to send in anything. We're just going to kind of fill in these methods. Now disconnected from chat. Now we're going to want to have a way to send messages from the client side. So in here, we're going to do, we're going to create a new while loop actually. So we're going to do while true. So we're going to want it to run forever. Also, the client is, this whole NitroNet is completely multi-threaded. So all these connections, the listener is going to be run on a separate thread. So you don't have to worry about loops not or blocking listeners from getting their information because that won't happen. So it's all multi-threaded. You don't have to worry about that happening. Now from here, we're going to want to just wait for input to come in. So we're going to do while true. Above that, do scanner in equals new scanner, and we're going to do system.in. For those of you not familiar with the scanner, all it does is just get information from the console. So it's going to type in information. When its client types in information, we're just going to want to send it to the server itself, and the scanner will be able to get that information. So we're going to do string s equals in dot next line. I haven't used this in a while, but that's what you're going to want to use. And let's just make sure this works correctly. I'm just going to debug it a little bit. So when this is actually going to block and wait for wait for the client to input something. So it's not going to go down to here until something's inputted. So we're just going to run it for right now. It's going to tell us it's not going to connect to the server, but it's not a big deal because it's actually running still. So as you can see, when we type in something, it's going to print it out back to us. So now to get rid of this problem where if it doesn't connect, it can still send information, we're just going to want to use that method is connected. So we're going to do if client dot is connected. So if it's connected, then we're going to want to check this, or then we're going to want to be able to get input from the actual client. So when a client inputs a string, we want to create a new chat message object with the string in there and then send it over. Now, if you want to, before this, we can actually create the username portion. So we're going to do string username equals in dot next line. So we want the username to be able to be related to the actual connection itself. So from here, we're going to want to print out like system.out.print line, enter a username, and then they'll enter the username, get the username, and then we'll send that over with the actual message. So now from here, we're going to create we're going to create the chat message object. So we're going to do chat message equals new chat message, and the first parameter was the username, and the second was the message. So create it just like that. We're going to have to import it. I clicked Control Shift and O to import it fast. What is your problem? Oh, 3 S's. Whoops. So then from there, we're just going to send that to the server. So we're going to do client dot get server connection dot send TCP message. That's simple. So now whenever a client inputs something, first I'll show you this portion. So first run the server, then the client. It'll say enter a username test, and then it'll pretty much just wait for a message to come up. So we'll say hello, and then it's going to send that message over. Now we don't know that because the server isn't actually checking to see if a message was sent, but we're going to set that up right now. So let's go ahead and do that. Go to the server listener, and we're going to see when a chat message was received. So if object instance of chat message pretty much means that a message was received from a connection. We're gonna cast that object to the message. So we're gonna do message equals chat message object. So we get the chat message, and now what we want to do is once a message comes through, we just want to reroute that to every connected client, every connection on the actual server. And it's very simple to do that. All we have to do is just loop through it. So we're gonna do for connection con. This is a for each loop for those of you that aren't familiar with it, but I assume you would be. For each connection con in connection manager.getInstance.get connections. So it gets all connections and loops through them. I actually have to change this. We'll just change it to C because the con is the parameter variable. So now from here, we're going to send it to every single one of them. So we're going to do c.send TCP and then message. And that will send the message to every single connection that is connected to the actual client, or that's connected to the server, including the client that sent it. So we don't want to print out the message here because it's actually going to come back and just get sent right back to us. So how do we get this message from the server? Well, we just go to the client listener and we do the same exact thing. If object instance of chat message. So if the client receives a chat message, which pretty much means that a client sent a message to the server and the server sent it back to us, then we just want to cast it and then print it out. So chat message equals chat message of object. And we're just going to do system.out.println line, and we're just going to form it. So we're going to do message.username plus message.message. And it's as easy as that. So now let me just kind of run it so I can show you guys how it works. And then from there, I'll go over the flow of how it actually works so you guys understand that portion. So enter a username, we'll do base. And now whenever we send a message, it's going to send it right back to us. So hello, and now base, hello. And then we'll say, how are you today? Base, how are you today? So it's rerouting it to all of us, to all the clients that are connected. So let's throw in another client, why don't we? So let's connect another client, enter a username. We'll do YouTube. Hello, and YouTube says hello. And we will see on the other client, YouTube says hello. Now base will say, we'll just create a conversation. What's going on? And base says what's going on. This is actually the YouTube side. As we can see, we typed in YouTube and we said hello. Base said what's going on, so YouTube received that. And you guys can just kind of talk back and forth to yourselves. Now, if you want to implement a GUI, an actual graphical user interface, it'll be easier to kind of see and everything like that. But that you guys can do it on your own as you want. So that's a chat room, very basic, very easy to set up. You can see we did it in a super minimal amount of lines using NitroNet. Very, very, very easy to set up. And it also gave you an understanding of how you can store connections, remove connections when one disconnects. And we can even go even farther. And how about when a new client connects on the server, we send a message to all the connected clients saying that a new client connected. So we'll do connection C, and then we'll do connection manager.getInstance. Get connections. Now we can't get their username because the username only gets sent over with the chat message object. You guys can change it yourselves to have a username sent over and stored when a new client actually connects. But we're just going to send all the connections a new message object, chat message object saying, I'll show you in a second. we'll set the username is equal to nothing, or I mean, we can even set, we'll set it to nothing. Client has connected, and we'll copy and paste actually all of this, and we'll paste it right below the disconnected, or in the disconnected method, we'll say client has disconnected. Now, what we'll do is we will go to the client listener, and we're just going to remove the connected to chat and disconnected from chat because that whole portion will take care of it. So now let's just run this and run this. And now you'll see that it'll have colons there because we don't have a username, and it'll say client has connected. Now you can say enter username, we'll say base, and now we'll just kind of talk to ourselves, whatever. And we'll add in another client, and we'll say another client has connected, and on the other side we'll actually see client has connected, and we'll just say YouTube. And now if we say hi, whatever you want, and we'll say YouTube says hi. Now let's disconnect on the first client, disconnected, and we will see that the client has disconnected on the YouTube side. So that's how that works. Very, very easy to set up and use. And that's kind of how a basic chat would work. And NitroNet allows that to be done very, very, very easily. So I'm just going to go over the flow of this one more time. So we'll start on the server side. When a new client connects, we want to add the connections to the connection manager. The connection manager holds all the connected clients and will send all the messages to those connected clients. And also we added in this little small portion that says when a new client connects, just send that just send to other connected clients that client has connected. Very basic. And then the same thing goes for the disconnected. When a client disconnects, then we'll remove it and we'll send it. Now, on the client side, once we connect, then we can start sending information. So if the client's connected, first we'll get a username from the client. So we'll save that username in this variable called username. And then while the program's running, continuously get whatever the user types in from this. So once they type in a message, create a new message object, put the username as username, put the message as the string here, and then send it over to the server. So now we'll say the server gets a new message. Go back to the server listener. All right, so we got a new message. Get the message from the object. For every single connection that's connected to the server, send that message to the connection. So now every single client will receive that message in their received method. So once they receive that chat message, all we have to do is get that chat message object and just print it out. So that's how basic it is to create a chat message with NitroNet. Very, very simple to use, very, very simple to get set up and started with. And it's also very stable. So that is the end of that. I'll upload this code to GitHub, like I said, and in the next video, I'm going to be going over encryption of packets and also kind of some of the background things that happen in NitroNet that make it very secure when you're trying to create secure applications, whereas other libraries like CryoNet doesn't actually offer that built in. You would have to do it yourself. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.